You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the Irish lady sings it. That makes it official. Welcome to the big show. As always, the Chris Voss Show is a family that loves you but doesn't judge you. At least not as harsh as the rest of the world. We're the nice family that you like. And, you know, you can't be the black sheep in the Chris Voss Show family. Maybe if you're evil or something, you would be. But then you probably don't listen to the show. Anyway, we have an amazing young lady we're going to be talking to on the show. But in the meantime, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTok, and all those crazy places on the internet. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Today, we are joined by Maini Homer. She is did I get that right? Maini Homer.
You did, yes.
I just want to make sure. Is an extraordinary entrepreneur, a true powerhouse of talent and innovation. From her early days in Australia, she set out a relentless entrepreneurial adventure that has left a trail of awe-inspiring success in her wake. Her journey began with a resounding triumph, taking a well-known franchise from a modest $2,000 a month to a staggering $8,000 a month in just 4 months. Back in 1997, this feat was nothing short of remarkable and a testament to her unmatched business acumen. Her hunger for greatness knew no bounds. In New Zealand, she fearlessly delved into various ventures, each more daring and rewarding than the last. And alongside her new partner, now husband, she has built a thriving mobile mechanics business, expanding to include a workshop of 5 skilled mechanics on the floor. And she ventured into the tech world, creating mobile computer mechanics and an innovative and much needed service. Welcome to the show. How are you, Miss Homer?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for having me, Chris.
Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. Give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
I'm absolutely huge on LinkedIn. Look me up on LinkedIn. My website is homerdigitalmarketing.com, and they're the best 2 places to find me.
So give us a 30,000 overview of what you do there.
So I've been in business for 27 years. I've actually built 18 businesses from the ground up. So it's more a case of what can't I do? There's so much experience that I have in many different types of business. I'm talking bricks and mortar, service businesses, online businesses. I've done them all from the ground up. And so when someone asks me what is it that I do, it's more the case of what can't I do. These days, though, I'm being smart. I'm being clever, and I'm getting on the good old AI train.
The AI train. Everyone's doing it these days, or maybe I don't know if everyone's doing it, but maybe the kids are. I don't know. Those kids are always up to something, So give us an idea of what you see AI being utilized for companies and how they can become more successful utilizing it.
Look, it's an absolute minefield out there currently, and as we discussed earlier, I mean, it's going so fast. It's actually getting to the point where it's scary how fast it's actually moving. One thing you may not be aware of, Chris, is that apparently only 8% of businesses are even tinkering with it at this stage. So for a lot of businesses, they haven't even gone there. They haven't gone there because they're kind of afraid of it still. It's kind of something that's way too new for them. And they're not implementing it anywhere near what they could be in their businesses. If only they could stop and see just how much it could help, what a difference it could make for them. Yeah.
So give us some examples of what you're finding it's doing to help people.
There's so many different things that it's doing to help people. Let's focus on perhaps some small businesses. Let's talk about a mechanic. Now, you mentioned earlier that, I've started a mobile mechanics business. That was a while ago. We've got another one now. It seems that my husband, who is the mechanic of the family, sort of like he goes into one, we create it, we sell it. A few years later, he gets bored and he goes back into another one. So let's talk about how AI is actually helping somebody in his business. So he's a bit old school. Okay, he still likes to have his diary that he actually writes, a paper diary that he actually writes. However, I'm working on him slowly. And the time it would save this guy, seriously, the time it would save this guy if he would just take on AI and have it scheduling his appointments. You could even get it to schedule appointments so that if he was in one area, let's say he was in, Birmingham somewhere and a certain suburb, then it could go to it could put a job next to it in the same suburbs. It's so clever. So his whole schedule could actually be mapped. Quotes that he's doing for clients, he could just talk into his phone and say, we're doing this, 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 and this, price it up and send the quote to the client. All of this kind of thing would be incredible time savers for him. Will I be able to move him over to AI? I'm doing it very it's definitely the way of the future.
Yeah. I mean, it really is some of the different features you have. I think they're out with, what do we have? There's ChatGPT 4.5 now, good for writing and exploring ideas, research review. 4.0 gave help with scheduling tasks. I haven't even messed with that much, but you talked about how, and you do, I guess, in your services, help businesses get seen, help people become aware of companies and rise above the fray. I mean, there's so much advertising, there's so much noise, it's hard to get noticed these days, and everyone's competing for eyeballs. What are some ways you're seeing, people can use maybe AI or maybe you're using it and how it's helping your clients?
Okay, so the biggest thing that's happening in the AI world these days is the time that it's saving. And unfortunately, it means some industries are going to be wiped out, but that is what happens no matter what happens, whether it's AI or whether it's Blockbuster and Netflix, et cetera, it's all just as it moves up. But let's take video production, for example. Now, there are AI programs out there that you can take an interview just like this one, Chris, and you can put it into this program. You can take the link from YouTube, for example, put it in there, and it will chop it up into little reels. Okay, it'll chop it up to anywhere between 10 and 30 reels, and it'll do it within minutes. The reels have the best hooks on them, so they actually measure the hooks as far as, how much is it going to draw in your audience? Like, how much is it going to attract your audience? It gives you the captions to put in, it gives you the hashtags, it gives you everything. And this is done within minutes of you uploading any video from YouTube to this program. Now, that would normally have taken anybody with some skill hours to do if they were to do it manually. And it's honestly done in just 5 minutes. You can throw a question to ChatGPT, for example. You can ask it to write you a video script, and then you can throw it into other programs, just the script, and it will create the entire video for you. You can do voiceovers with AI. You can actually throw in a script and get a voiceover so that the voiceover actually speaks the words. And then you can throw that into a video program and it'll add all of the video with it as well. And all of the captions and everything done. It's like the time saving is huge. And one thing that businesses need to understand is the quickest and easiest way to get visibility is first jump on an amazing podcast like this one, but also video is key. It's absolutely key because, like, you're seeing me right now. You're connecting with me right now, and this is something a picture wouldn't do. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes a difference in people knowing that you're human, that what sort of integrity level at least you seem to imply, or whether or not you show you have knowledge. That's kind of the thing that people do now with the freemium models. They get on and talk about their stuff and they show that they are knowledgeable at stuff, and people go, hey, I want to pay you to help me. And it's a great way to get your name out there.
100%. It's so important that people actually really embrace what's happening, because the fact is this is not going away. This is just the start of something absolutely mind-blowingly incredible. AI is not going anywhere, so you've got a choice. You either get on board or you're just going to get drowned. That's exactly what's going to happen. It's like a tidal wave coming.
Oh, yeah. It's I already feel like I'm in a tidal wave at this point because it's just moving so fast, and there's like different there's video, and the videos are amazing. You can give them, video prompts, and you can give it visual prompts. I use it for a lot of my logos or artwork for ads and stuff. I'm like, hey, make me a logo or ad that looks like this, and it will do it. And it's just crazy. So one of the things you talk about on your website is, for you've been over in business for 27 years. What made you start your own company? What made you get into business for yourself and go down these roads?
It was actually quite an interesting journey in the beginning. I actually, when I finished high school, I didn't do well enough in high school to be able to go to college or university. And so it was like, okay, so what am I going to do? I'm not sure why I didn't do so well, because it's not that I'm not smart. I think I'd given up on school, if that makes sense. And so I ended up, I had given up. I actually got myself a job when I was 15, and I earned money over the summer. And that kind of destroyed me, if you know what I mean, because I suddenly had the money. Do you know what I mean? So I went back to school and I did what I needed to do, but, didn't get the results. But I think that wasn't the path I was meant to go on. I actually started working for the Queensland government. And I won't talk about the department I worked for, but I worked in the Queensland government. The jobs I was doing was data entry. I was in the worst group of about 10 women who were so catty and so horrible. And when I actually found myself another position, but when I moved, the very first thing that my superior said to me on day one, the minute I walked in the room, he said to me, now just sit down and understand there are no prizes for heroes. That is the first thing he said to me. And from that moment on, I thought, this is not what I want to do. This is not where I want to be. I stayed there for 2 years until I found the path out, and I bought a franchise. And that's the very first business. And I want to share with you, Chris, the level that we went to with this franchise. So, I mean, like, this is one we're talking about back in 1997, where we had a guarantee of $2,000 a month income for 24 months, but I built that in 4 months up to 8,000. We were starting at 1 a.m. in the morning. We were up at 1 a.m. and we were in the car and we were heading towards places like Sizzler. I don't know whether you had Sizzler over in Canada. Yeah. It was like a steak restaurant. Yes. So we'd clean a Sizzler, we'd clean a McDonald's, and we'd clean like an office building. We'd go home. We'd arrive home by 6:30 in the morning. We would eat, shower, and we'd go to our day jobs.
Yeah. And so you built over 18 companies over the years.
All different kinds, all different, industries. It was like there was never actually a real pattern on what I did. It wasn't like I found something that worked and I just repeated it. I did in a way, but I changed the product. So, for example, when I got pregnant with my son, I decided I didn't want to buy baby products. So I created a brand of baby products, and I imported them from China. That's not a popular thing right now, I get, importing from China. But, yeah, I imported from China. I branded it myself, and I completely just blew the industry away in New Zealand for that. And that business lasted me. I had that business for 4 years before I sold that one. So.
Oh, wow. That is amazing.
Yeah.
And you're so entrepreneurial. I think I might have interrupted you. I think you might have been telling us your history, and I think the sound dropped out. So I jumped in with the question. Was there a continuation of your story in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah. I was just talking about obviously what we put in for that first business. Like, we weren't afraid to get up at 1 a.m. and it was 16-hour days, like 5 days a week. We had a little less on the weekend, but I mean, we did that for a good 6 to 7 months so we could build the business. I actually used to take days off my government job so I could go out and prospect and get new clients for the business, because they didn't care. I could,
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why I started. That's why I went into business on my own, because it's like I'm not one. I can't sit still. I can't just sit in a job and just. I mean, I could have up until I was 65. I could have left with an amazing super package and stayed there until I was 65. But it's just not who I am.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. The free spirit of entrepreneurism and the mind. I mean, my biggest challenge is I have issues working with other people because they usually make poor decisions, they have poor leadership, they usually don't know what they're doing, and sometimes just the stupid ideas they come up with, I'm just like, I want to choke you to death. I can't deal with you. And so I've always found it's better work for myself and let myself make all the mistakes that everybody else would that I'm unwilling to work for.
That's right. That's right. And you do. Yeah.
Evidently I have. I've made a few. So yeah, there's a lot of that goes into it as well. So you, in the journey that you're at, you started in New Zealand. I think you moved to Australia now. Do you?
Yeah. No, I do. I mean, so I was very young when I left New Zealand the first time. I grew up in Australia, went back when I was about 26 and lived there for another 16 years in New Zealand and then moved back when I was 40, so to Australia. So, yeah. So back and forth and back and forth. It's very expensive to move countries. I must tell you that. It's very, very expensive. I don't recommend it.
I mean, at least you're close. Now, when you do business with clients, do you do business with clients internationally? Is there an area that you prefer to do business with clients in?
So I do have clients around the world. I have an amazing client in Miami currently. He's been with me for over 4 years. We write blogs and articles for this guy every day. He has got the most incredible SEO background with my articles. It's incredible. He's got over 1,000 articles on massage chairs, would you believe? So
massage chairs.
It's like,
there you go.
Yes, massage chairs. Yes. So yeah.
I love those zero gravity.
Yeah.
I love those zero gravity massage chairs. Those are my favorite.
Awesome. And of course, I know so much about massage chairs. I never thought I would, but I absolutely do now. So it's like
I love the zero gravity ones where they put you on your back. They go back and they put you on your back and they can just get in there because your body weight is pushing yourself into the machine that's tearing you up. And boy, I use that for about 30 minutes at the gym before I work out, and then a little bit after. Boy, that really helps with my recovery. So yeah. I love it.
Pretty nice.
I would live in. I've been thinking of buying one, but then I would never get out. I'd probably just live in it because I'd just be like.
If you want to buy one, boy, do I have someone that I can connect you with 100%. So
now on your website, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, yes, I do have clients all over the world. Focus these days is Australia, New Zealand, and the US. I love the US, and of course Canada. Love Canada. So it's just I've got so much experience. I can work with anything basically.
Yeah, you definitely seem to be a Jane of all trades. I was going to say Jack of all trades, but you're a Jane, so we'll use that. But you have this ability, it seems, to take a look and walk into a lot of different industries, assimilate them, master them, do business well in them, turn over the business. On your website, it says, "Give me 90 days, and I'll build you a system that makes you impossible to ignore. I need you to help me with my Tinder profile, I think, for dating."
Here we go.
Tell us about I'm not sure you can help me actually on Tinder, but on business, maybe so.
Well,
tell us about this 90 days and building systems for companies that are impossible to know. If you could tease out a little bit of what you offer there.
Okay, so it's all about making sure that you are visible and that you are seen and that you are heard. Okay, this is so important for every business out there these days. You've got businesses out there that seem to think they can hide behind their work, that their customers will promote them. No, you've got to do it yourself.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to do it yourself. You've got to get up your backside.
I got to do my own work.
And you've got to take action. Yes, you do. You do. I mean, there's plenty of tools out there these days that can help you, okay? But you've still got to get off your backside and you've still got to do it yourself. So what I do is I actually create a system for businesses to get them seen and heard and to get them into the front of their ideal client, okay, and that's number one. We've got many different things we can do for businesses. We can help them create videos. We can do interviews like this. We can turn those videos, as I mentioned earlier, into reels. There's so many things we can do. We can actually help with the help of our friend ChatGPT, and my version of that's called Harper, by the way. They had me name them the other day. Yes, Harper. So Harper can help. Harper, yes. So, yes, Harper can write a book from the transcript from the interview. You can do social posts from that. There's so much you can do, and you've got to be seen everywhere these days. You've got to be seen where your ideal client is going to be looking, and you've got to make sure it's consistent across the platforms. It's got to be perfect. So this is the kind of system that we build. We've got a few little ninja tricks in there that we keep under the lid until they're clients of ours that can really help elevate them and push them forward. Google is another thing. Even though AI is becoming more powerful, Google is still around and still will be around for quite a long time. So you've got to make sure that you're on top of Google. If it's business to business, you've got to make sure you're on LinkedIn and that you are completely visible on LinkedIn. Okay. Yeah. It's so important. Yeah. So, I mean, these are all the kinds of things that, we do to help businesses, get visible. It just depends on the business too, exactly what strategy we do, but the world's our oyster, basically.
Yeah, it's you've got to get the noise out there. People, we were talking before the show, there's people I've seen that built a company or they built an app or a product, and they put all their money into building it, and they think that if they just build the most perfect widget to sell, people would be like, oh my God, this is perfect. One of the examples that I like to use is, before Instagram came on the scene, there were two companies, and one was way better than Instagram. And it was photographers loved it. It would do 1080p, and you could upgrade, you could upload, high resolution. I don't think you could do RAW, but you could do like really good photos at a high resolution that you could upload. And they were, of course, in the format that photographers like, the landscape format. And that's kind of how you shoot most times as a professional photographer. You shoot in a landscape mode. And it was a great app. It was wonderfully built. It was just amazing. It was kind of the top app. There was one that was right below it that was kind of the same sort of formats. And then Instagram came on the scene, and it had the portrait shot instead of the landscape shot. And then it had like a third or a half of the resolution you can upload. So your photos are going to look shitty on the service. And as a photographer, I was like, this looks stupid. Who takes portrait photos? Just idiots with phones take portrait photos. Their phones were just becoming a thing back then. And so, but that Instagram took off. It just took off because people like doing portrait on their phones. They don't care about, they don't even know what resolution is. They just, I look cute and smile, put that on Instagram. And Instagram blew up and took off. And I remember looking at the other two companies, and eventually they both folded because Instagram became so huge. And I was like, wow. And their UI was way better. Yeah, everything about the product was way better. But somehow Instagram and it was just crap back then. It was awful, jiggity, didn't work a lot of the time. Somehow it just became this thing because enough people loved it. So it really wasn't about building the greatest product. We see that with a lot of products where, Silicon Valley has this ship it attitude and fix it later. We see that with video games now, where they ship games that are so broken. You're just like, you've sold this? You want people to pay for this? And, eventually they'll kind of catch up and they'll fix the problems, and somewhere in there it becomes a great game. And it's kind of interesting that Video Gamer and I guess other people on other products, they'll buy these products and just figure the software is going to update later. Tesla was like that. They promise self-driving cars, and for years and years and years, I don't even think they have fully autonomous cars at this point. But, the promise is what they invested in. It's kind of weird because we've entered this world where a lot of people ship broken crap, and then they promise they'll fix it later as they go, and people seem to just roll over for it and go, okay, whatever. It's kind of funny. But yeah, it's just an example of how you can, I wouldn't advise shipping, half-ass product and fixing it later, but it's kind of interesting how, it's not about how great the product is. It's how well, people know it and adapt to it.
It's actually funny you say that, because just before I came on, and I mentioned this to you earlier, I saw something come up on the amazing Instagram, and it says they're better known. Your pictures are better. They still win. And that's what it comes down to. It doesn't come down to how good your work is, or how good your app is, or how much time you've spent building it. As we talked about, you mentioned that people that have built these amazing apps and they'd spent heaps of money on it, but they had no money to advertise it, and so they couldn't get it out there. And that's what people need to understand. It's like it's no more about build it and they will come. That was a movie and it's not true. You know what I mean? That was in a movie and it's not true. So
that was a movie. It's not
people need to understand that. It is, exactly. I mean, like, it's a great story. But that's all it is. It's just a story. It's like, you've got to make sure you're putting yourself out there, 100%. So I thought you'd like that.
Wait, are you saying that the ghosts in the outfield in the movie are fake too?
Look, I'm sorry, Chris. I'm really sorry.
You're breaking my bubble here, man. I believed in that story.
Don't get me started on the Easter Bunny. Seriously, don't get me started on the Easter Bunny. Like,
next thing you're going to tell me Santa Claus isn't real. Oh, I don't know about all this. So what else about your business that you offer to clients and help them with do we need to talk about?
I think it's my experience. I think that's why a lot of people come to me. I'm not wanting to coach as much. I'm not really a coach. I'm more of a solutionist, if that makes sense. So you bring me a problem and I will give you the solution. I won't sit there and hold your hand while you implement it. Okay, that's not the kind of girl I am, because I'm already moving on to the next issue and the next problem. It's like, so I'm a solutionist. That's what I would say about what I do with my experience. So and do you know what? Even if I came across somebody who had a problem that I didn't know how to solve, then you just work it out. You find out. There's so much information available online these days. You know, there's people that have done it. You reach out, you ask questions. That's the number one way to solve anything, is that you simply start asking the questions. It's, and if people did that more often, they'd find they'd solve a lot more for themselves much quicker. So that's what I kind of, actually, I'm gonna change my LinkedIn profile shortly. I'm gonna put this, I'm a solutionist. That's a good
I
word,
like that. I like that. You should trademark that. Get to see if there's the .com available. And I love that, being a solutionist. A lot of people have the answers inside of them. Like I would, you talk to entrepreneurs or whatever. I built my successful mortgage company off of, I think, 10, 15 minutes of talking to my dad. And I was smart enough to understand how business modeling works. And, there's a certain way it has to work to have a flow from beginning to end and stuff. And I was kind of familiar with the terms. And my father worked at a mortgage company. And I would ask him, like, how does a mortgage company work? And he'd be like, I don't know. I just sell the mortgage and it just happens. And I'm like, you work there every day. You see what's going on. You see the departments. Surely, you know how it works. He didn't. And so one day I really wanted to know how it worked. And so I sat down and started asking questions like you do. And I started, peppering him with, okay, so there, what's the step after this? What department does it go to? Oh, it goes to the processing department after I write the loan. Oh, what do they do? Oh, they get the approval, they process the loan, they get the paperwork, the proof of documentation, yada, yada, yada. Then where does it go from there? Oh, then it goes to closing. And literally within about 15 minutes, I understood the business model of how mortgages work, how they make money, and yada, yada, yada. And he had the knowledge inside of him. He just didn't understand how to put it all together and make it work. And so by me asking questions, I was able to figure the whole thing out. So, what are you going to do?
It's the answer to everything. Like people like Tony Robbins, when he never does any kind of intervention on anybody until he has asked them 50 plus questions. He's questioning, he's asking, 100%, because he's got to know exactly in detail how to solve that problem. And the only way, and this is gold for anybody out there who wants to know how to be a solutionist, I suppose, is ask questions and write, and just let your mind will tell you what the answer is. No matter what you ask your mind, it must solve it. It must come up with the solution. It's part of your human nature. So you can ask a question and your mind will come up with an answer. It may not be the right answer, but it will come up with an answer. And then you just ask more questions and more questions until you reach that point. You see, you're having a problem with your eye there, aren't you? Yes.
I am. The left eye seems to have a dry issue. So anything more we need to talk about you, what you do, how you do it, and all that good stuff?
I think probably just, to let people know that, I out here. I am, making myself extremely visible these days. I am available. If you've got a problem you need solved, like come and talk to the new solutionist. I love that word. I'm going to actually take action on that when we get off this call. I do too. I think that's quite cool, really, isn't it? Yeah, the solutionist. Yeah. It sounds very important. It does.
We've been live too, so you want to grab it quick.
I thought that. I actually did think that before. I thought, wow.
We want to pause the show so you can just jump over and get that nailed down real quick. But
I just thought to myself, I thought, shall I open a window?
So give us your .coms. Tell people how they can onboard, how they can reach out to you, talk to you, handshake with you, find out, if they're a good fit for you and you're a good fit for them, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. The first thing I'm going to say, Chris, is what you see is what you get. This is me. I'm real. I'm authentic. And, this is exactly who you're going to get when you're dealing with me. So, look, best place to find me is LinkedIn. Okay, I'm huge on LinkedIn. I've got a huge profile on LinkedIn. Oh. Go check me out there. Go via my website is the other way. If you want to book in for a call, then obviously website's the way to go. And whatever it is that you need. I mean, like if it's visibility, if it's like, in bringing AI into your business, if it's systems, if it's, strategies that you need, whatever bottleneck you're facing, whatever difficulty you are having, like, let's talk it out. Let's find the answer and let's find that solution.
It's been fun to have you on, and Dern, you certainly had your fingers in a lot of pies and been successful in business. So a lot of people can reach out to you and get help for that. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been great. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks, Sharon, for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss, one on the TikToky, and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. And that should have a